What is that? What are you looking for? So by this time, I had requested for 3 pins, and I was like, you know what? If they give me, fine. If they don't give me, let them still stay like that. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now I know it's been a while, so my name is Efe and I make videos on lifestyle, motherhood, beauty and everything in between. So basically I just wanted to make this video to tell you and walk you through the process on how I eventually got my Google AdSense pin in Lagos. Now in other countries I think it's pretty straightforward, where you literally would just put your address through and put all of your correct information.
Correct. Absolutely 100% factual.
A brief rundown about what Google AdSense PIN is all about. When you sign up for Google AdSense, it means that you're obviously ready or getting ready to start getting YouTube ads on your YouTube videos. When you do sign up and when you do register to start that process, they would need to verify your address, and the verification of your address includes you receiving a Google AdSense pin. That pin contains a 6-digit pin which you have to put into the Google AdSense account, and then they would be able to verify your address.
You know something? You're right.
My journey with getting this AdSense pin, I didn't get one, but 2. So basically my journey in getting this pin was a little bit difficult because I don't know what happened. Like, the postal service here in Nigeria is not that great. So basically I had a video that went viral. I'm gonna put the video up here somewhere, and I literally had stopped checking if I had made up to the 4,000 watch hours, because I used to check, and then later on I just got a bit discouraged and I said, you know what, I'm not going to check for a while. So on this particular day, I checked and I saw that I had actually surpassed that 4,000. I think I was on 6,000 watch hours. And I was like, duh, why didn't I check sooner? I quickly got on the computer and put down all of my details. And then now when you're putting your address, you really need to be very careful, especially with the postcode. The postal service here is not like the Royal Mail service in the UK or anywhere else where you'd actually get that letter in your house. That's not going to happen.
Sounds good. Doesn't work.
You need to put your address and put the correct postcode, and I'll tell you why. Even though it's not going to be delivered to your house, you still need to put the correct address and of course the correct postcode. I put my address and I put my postcode, and I thought, okay, I would give it like 3 weeks, because I'd seen some videos that said some people got theirs in as little as 2 weeks, some people got theirs in a month, and so on. So I put all that information in and I requested for this pin in December. Now, January came and went, and then February came and went, and I did not receive this pin. So what I did was I had put in my postcode, but I now realized when I went back to check that my postcode was not my immediate postcode, if you know what I mean. So I put in a postcode in a different local government because I just thought it was a generic postcode for within my immediate area. First of all, checked for my Google AdSense pin in my local post office, and they said they hadn't received anything. And then I watched a lady's video, I can't even remember what her name is now, where she said she went to 2 to 3 post offices that are close to her house. So I did that as well. I went to 2 other post offices and they said there was nothing. Now it's shocking because when you go hunting for this Google AdSense pin, right? I never knew there were so many creators in Nigeria. Like when I went to check, even my husband went as well to check for me in one of the post offices. And he said the huge batch of AdSense pin that he saw, that he was shocked. A lot of people would request for these things and they would just get hooked and stuck at the post office. I know I've received mail from the post office at home, but this was ages and ages ago.
Easy, Frank.
I don't know what it is, if they get overwhelmed in actually doing the last lap of delivering these letters and these AdSense pins to the actual addresses that are on them, because the address is on them. So we checked these two post offices and they said there was no pin. And I was getting a bit agitated now because I'd also watched another video that talked about if your pin is not received, you have like 3 trials, and after that they will stop running ads. You know, there was just a lot of information, and the thing is, sometimes you really need to be very careful about how you drink in information, because sometimes you have that information overload where you would actually know what you're looking for and then extra, and so that extra, sometimes you don't even need to know that extra because it's not important.
No, not important.
I was exasperated after checking this, my immediate post office and 2 others. We even went as far as checking the general post office, because I now realized that the postcode I used was for general post office in Lagos Island. We went to check. They were like, Kilo, what is that? What are you looking for? Okay, we haven't seen it. If we see it, you drop your number, we'll call you, you know. They have this very laid back attitude that doesn't really help, especially when you know you're on the clock and you do want to get this process started and on the way. I had to request again. Now, this time, you have to now look for your postcode. Each area has their own postcodes. And I think if I can find a website that I saw the different postcodes for the different areas, I would link it in my description, where you would now find the postcode that is within your immediate area. Because what I think Google does, because Google is like an IT giant company, so basically I think they would send that AdSense to the postcode that is generated from your address. So I changed the postcode and resubmitted and asked for another pin. Now this is my second day trial. After you've requested for a pin, you can't request for another one until 3 weeks has passed, because you have to give it time to actually get mailed out and shipped out and get to you. I requested for another one in February, and then this time I now took my time to really calculate that, okay, in March I would do my rounds, and if I don't see it, I'll request again for another one, because again, I wanted to still be within that 4-month mark.
Hey, how you doing?
March came and all that, and there was still no pin. By this time, I'd befriended one of the ladies at my immediate post office. In fact, it wasn't like I'd befriended her. I actually knew her. I'd never met her, but she helped me with a package once that I had ordered from AliExpress a few years ago. So I managed to whip out her number, and I was just, toasting her on the phone that, Madam, please, if you see my AdSense pin, please, can you call me and whatnot. I did not follow up as much as I should have. There were gaps, like a lot of gaps in between. She said she would let me know, and then I checked another post office again, that YouTube, there was a YouTuber that told me that even though she was living many miles from this post office, she found her Google AdSense pin in that post office. So I still also checked there, and they said, Madam, not saying when there's something, we let you know.
How about new?
I mean, what do you do when you hear something like that? You rest now. Sometime in April, was it April? By this time, I had sort of zoned out because we were sort of preparing for an event. Just said, you know what? Look, if these people are not going to send this thing to me, there's nothing I can do. I cannot go to America and grab them by the shirt and say, where's my pin, So I just sort of zoned out, even though I still had it at the back of my mind to check on this lady. So on this particular day, I started getting a lot of missed calls, and I didn't have the numbers stored. So I was like, you know what, I'll call back, because I was really busy that day. The next day, this number kept calling me again. So I picked, and I was like, oh, sorry, I missed your calls, And she was like, oh, it's me, the lady from your local post office. I was like, madam, greeted her very well. She said, guess what? I said, this is why you're calling me and you're saying, guess what? I think I have an idea. I said, okay, what? And she was like, I've got your pen. So I was happy, but I was like, so finally, these people finally sent it.
Smile, my boy. It's sunrise.
So by this time, I had requested for 3 pins. Like, oh, it's with her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, madam, don't worry, I will come and collect it. And she said she kept it with her, so it doesn't get returned back. Because what they do in my local post office, I don't know about everywhere else, that if your mail doesn't get picked up within a certain period of time, they would actually send it back to the hub. I was really happy about that. Got a dispatcher, sent a dispatcher out to her, and then she gave the pin to me. Now you think that's the end of the story. It was not. So about 2 weeks later, this woman calls me again. So I was like, what's she calling me for? I was a bit curious, like, what's going on? And she told me that you won't believe it, that these people have sent you a second one. So I did not get one, but I got two. So it really actually does come. You just have to be patient and you have to follow up. Okay, imagine now if I hadn't gone to her and, toasted her, as they say, or, befriended her and leave your contact, because the thing is, even if you drop your contact, it's still up to them if they want to contact you. It's still up to them if they want to call you. I would advise to check up more because, as I said, I didn't even follow up as much as I should have followed up. And I'm just being honest. So it's so interesting. The second one, I didn't even need to open it. I wish it's something that they can share now. I would have shared it for somebody, but obviously you can't do that. So with the pin, it's just basically they put your address is on there. And when you open it up, you find your pin right there, So it's such a simple letter. It's such a controversial letter. And now you would think that I would put the pin immediately. My people. Let me just be real. I didn't put this immediately.
Really?
It took me another month to put my pin. As I said, because of the event we were planning for as a family. And so I'm going to do another video to tell you how much YouTube paid me in my first paycheck. So my tips today concerning getting your Google AdSense pin in Lagos, Nigeria is to 1, make sure you input your correct address. And then number 2 is to also make sure you put your correct postcode. The postcode that is generated around your area is the one you should put through. And then number 3, don't sit down and expect this thing to stroll to your house. It ain't gonna happen. You have to take time and peruse your local post office. You can even check a couple more around your area, because sometimes these things just find their way hooked somewhere in either your local post office or post offices that are around your immediate environment. So please be vigilant and be proactive when you are waiting, requesting, and looking for your Google AdSense pin in Nigeria. So I hope this video was helpful for you today. Please, if you did, don't forget to please give this video a like and definitely consider joining in the family. And I guess I will speak to you soon.